Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to day two of She Builds the Future 2026 Power, Presence, and Progress TechGig's International Women's Day Leadership Initiative. I'm your host, Khushi Mudgal, and I'm absolutely delighted to have all of you joining us today. As many of you know, TechGig is India's largest tech community with over 5.6 million developers, and the idea of creating a dedicated platform to celebrate and spotlight women leaders in tech has always been close to our hearts. And truly, what better occasion than International Women's Day to bring that vision to life? We kicked off day one with our opening leadership panel, and the response from the community was incredible. The level of engagement, the questions from the audience, and the enthusiasm from professionals across the ecosystem has been truly overwhelming. So, a big thank you to everyone who joined us yesterday and helped us make the start of this initiative so meaningful for all of us. And now, today, we continue that momentum. For day two, we have a very special crosstalk session titled Two Journeys, One Table: The Real Conversations Behind Success. And to help us unpack this exciting space, it is my esteemed honor to have two incredible guests with us. Joining me today are Ms. Sangeeta Yanamandra, Vice President, Software Engineering, Research and Development at OpenText, and Ms. Megha Chaudhary, Senior Vice President, Global Head of Marketing and Alliance Management at C5I. It's such a pleasure having you both here with me today.
Thank you so much, Kushi. Thank you. And a very, very happy Women's Day to all the women who tuned in and to anyone who's tuned in who have incredible women in their life.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Kushi. And thanks, TechGig, for inviting us for this panel discussion. I'm really excited to join this incredible discussion with Megha Chaudhary. Yeah.
We are so glad
Likewise,
to
Sangeeta, I'm really excited. And thank you, TechGig. You guys are an amazing platform and powering a lot of people across India and the world. So very excited to be here.
We are so glad to have both of you as part of our crosstalk session because what better than this occasion would it be? So now, before we begin, let me take a moment to introduce our speakers and set the stage for today's conversation. First, I'm pleased to welcome Ms. Sangeeta Yanamandra. She's the Vice President of Software Engineering, Research and Development at OpenText. With over 28 years of experience building enterprise platforms and products across on-premise and cloud ecosystems in security, fintech, airlines, healthcare, and mobile domains, she currently leads strategy and innovation across analytics and e-discovery, managing product teams in Hyderabad and Bangalore. As site leader for OpenText Hyderabad, she drives employee engagement, CSR, and ED&I initiatives and actively mentors emerging talent. She has spearheaded multiple strategic product launches and holds 4 granted technology patents with 3 more in application. We're so honored to have you, Sangeeta, here with us today.
Thank you so much, Kushi.
And now joining her today is Ms. Megha Chaudhary. She's the Senior Vice President of Global Head of Marketing and Alliance Management at C5I. With over 20 years of experience in integrated marketing and business development, she specializes in driving brand growth, sales, and business impact through marketing tech, strategic partnerships, and data-driven GTM strategies. She has led global marketing initiatives across the US, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia Pacific, working with clients in tech, retail, CPG, BFSI, and telecom. She's the recipient of multiple industry recognitions, including Most Admired Marketing Leader 2023 and Most Innovative MarTech Leader, leading marketing and partner alliances globally. It's such an honor to have you, Megha, here with us today.
Thank you so much again, Khushi. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
And now, setting the context about today's topic. Today's conversation focuses on exploring how leaders navigate career breaks, setbacks, and transitions, rebuild confidence at critical turning points, and balance professional ambition with personal priorities. It will also shed light on how influence can be built without conforming to traditional leadership stereotypes, offering authentic perspectives on leadership in today's evolving workplace. As we see that behind every successful career lies a series of difficult choices, unexpected pivots, and moments of self doubt that often remain unseen. So, this crosstalk brings together two accomplished leaders to share their distinct paths to the leadership table and the common pressures that have shaped their journeys. This conversation is about going beyond polished leadership narratives and hearing the real stories behind the journeys, the turning points, the challenges, and the moments that truly shaped the leaders that we admire today. Further, I would like to mention that the session is scheduled for 60 minutes. The first 35 minutes will feature insights and discussions from our guest speakers, and the final 10 minutes will be open for questionnaire. So to all of the attendees, feel free to drop your questions anytime in the Q&A window. And now, without further ado, let's get started. So, firstly, to kick things off, I would like to begin with asking you both, Sangeeta and Megha, that when people look at leadership journeys from the outside, they often assume that they were linear. So, if you had to name one unexpected chapter in your journey that shaped you the most, then what would it be and why?
Shall I go ahead, Mega?
Yes, Sangeeta, you can go first.
Go ahead, Sangeeta, please.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, growth rarely comes from the comfort, right? So honestly, growth and comfort, in my view, don't go together. So at one point of time, I took an unexpected and consciously unplanned decision, okay, to leave a stable zone and step into a startup. I chose that path purely out of a desire to explore something different. I wanted to experience the full life cycle of building and delivering technology, which means end to end. When I say end to end, it is not just on technology aspects, okay, but also understand dynamics of hosting, operations, market potential, business ownership, and many aspects. So that one particular decision, if I have to say, opened doors that I hadn't even imagined at that time. In fact, I had to suddenly adapt myself to manage, drive, and deliver super aggressive professional services engagements because it was a startup, and that too on a product which was evolving. Okay, and working directly with the CEO, both in winning and retaining strategic accounts. Those years, if I still remember right, even after adjusting my extended hours to 18 to 20 hours a day, we felt like still 24 hours a day were not sufficient. So that journey, I must say, changed everything for me. It also became the bridge to start my career or shift my career from professional services to product engineering and product management. So overall, if I have to say, right, growth happened actually. So, but not because I did what was expected of me. It happened because I pushed myself to challenge the status quo, learn fast, adapt fast, and also operate far outside the boundaries I was used to operating, right? I had to figure out things on the fly, lead through ambiguity, and bring teams along in environments where nothing was predictable. In fact, in short, I had to say, like, I had to operate without a playbook in place. I must say, like, that particular chapter transformed the way I led, the experimentation, pace of change, the way I had to transition. It was all beyond everything I anticipated. And in the process, I must say, I discovered a different version of myself. So, looking back, that particular step really shaped how I think about growth. It made me intentional about choosing assignments that slightly feel uncomfortable, but that's fine because that's where the real transformation happens. That's my belief. It's about seeking out different aspects, embracing the uncomfortable moments, and having a willing to actually put in the effort to figure out things along the way. So, if I had to name one an unexpected chapter that shaped me the most, it would be that intentional step into uncertainty because it has set the tone for me for every bold choice I've made since then.
That's a very powerful reflection, Sangeeta, and that actually inspires all of us hearing to this session today. And now, Megha, I would like to ask the same from you.
Wonderful. I think I'll take a cue from Sangeeta's, answer as well, because obviously anything that gives you comfort is not going to help you grow. That's something even I believe in. But one thing I've learned over the years in is that the moments that shape us the most are often the ones we didn't fully prepare for or we were never ready for. So, one of the most unexpected chapters in my journeys, if I have to think, was actually the start of my journey, which was my transition from law into marketing and business development. If you had asked me as a law student where I saw my career going, marketing would have been the last answer for me that I would have given. I was studying law in Pune. I was in my fourth year of law school when I started working with what was then a very small startup in Pune. I still remember our office vividly. It was, I don't know how many people who've joined are from Pune. It was on Ferguson College Road in Times of India building. We had taken one entire floor, but there were only 5 of us working there. The vision, of course, from the owners of the organization was that one day the floor would be full. But at that moment, it was just 5 people, a lot of ambition, and an empty office space. Coming from legal background, I had absolutely no training, no exposure to marketing or business development. I'd been studying law. And very honestly, the first few months were so intimidating. I would go back to my boss almost every other week saying, I don't really think I can do this. I don't know marketing at all. I don't know sales. I don't know why you've hired me. But what changed everything for me was the belief that my mentor had in my ability to learn. They kept telling me something very simple, and which I tell my team now as well, is skills can be learned, but curiosity and commitment matter more. That belief in me, when I truly, fully didn't believe in myself yet, was transformative for me. Slowly, a lot of things started to change. The first small win came that gave me a great high. And trust me, nothing gives you a better high than your first win, right? First small win, then another, and then a few more. Over time, the work started compounding. That empty floor that once had only 5 of us slowly began filling up. Eventually, I think at the end of 8 years that I worked in that organization, which was my first job, and I thought I won't be sticking around for more than a month, we expanded from that one floor to multiple locations in Pune. And if I look back on that chapter, many people's journeys are shaped by not one but many chapters, but this was start of my journey. That shaped my entire leadership or working philosophy. It taught me that leadership often begins with belief. That belief you show in others before they're even able to see that potential in themselves. Today, when I lead teams, I carry that lesson very, very consciously because somewhere along the way, someone's confidence in me changed that trajectory of my career. I would have been sitting, maybe been a very bad lawyer, which I felt I might not be a good lawyer because at that time, sitting in library, reading moot cases, preparing for moot cases and preparing for these cases when Google was not prevalent, sitting with heavy, big books. I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but someone's confidence in me, they met me once and they said, I think you're going to be a great marketing person one day. That changed my career trajectory. And I believe that greatest responsibility of leadership is to create that same confidence in others. And to your question also, I don't think careers, they really move in straight lines. And I really think most growth happens in the chapters we didn't plan. So for me, it was absolutely a chapter I didn't think, I didn't anticipate. It was one fine day I was going about my life in the gym when the owners of the company, they said, we've spoken to you and we feel you speak very confidently. Would you be interested in working? And at that time, everyone wants side earning, when you're in school and you get limited budget from your parents. I was like, why not? If I can do it after my college, I'll be happy to. And that happened. It just happened by chance for me. It fell in my lap and I didn't think I could do it. But their confidence and their thought that I can just made me believe in myself week over week, month over month. And I stand here. So I'm very, very fortunate to have had that experience.
And that's a really great and inspiring chapter that you just mentioned it out, Megha, for all of us. And that's such powerful reflections, both of you, Sangeeta and Megha, that you just took us through. And it's also a great reminder that some of the most defining lessons, they come from the unexpected turns that we take along the way and in our journeys. So, with this, I would like to move forward with the conversation, Sangeeta, and I would like to bring this question to you. As you see that engineering leadership often demands high visibility, technical authority, and decisive execution. So, as you grew into senior leadership, did these expectations placed on your shift, and how did you navigate those pressures?
Yeah, of course, there will be change in the shift. Okay, early on, it was all about technical depth and execution in engineering. So gradually, the focus definitely expands. To list a few, right, towards shaping the direction, influencing across teams beyond technical teams, collaborating with sales, marketing teams to understand the business need and drive adoption of features of the product and make decisions, especially when the data wasn't perfect. So, but one thing I can say that never changed was how I lead. I always believe that passion matters, okay, because uh, basically I don't do things to be seen. I do them because genuinely I love solving hard problems, not just technology, but also business problems. And I have found that when your actions deliver impact, right, so visibility takes care of itself. So a big part of my journey, I would say, has been very close to the technology while still being a catalyst for the growth and business. I've taken an active role, and I also take even now an active role in design and architecture discussions. And some of the POCs, proof of concepts that have been part, have grown into full-fledged product designs and even inventions. So I must say those were great moments and proud moments for me, not because my name was attached to it, but because the spark of an idea, right, turned into something real that customers can use. So there were also many moments, I would say, where leadership means saying yes when the safe answer was no, right? I can share one example of mine where it stays really very close to me. Uh, it was almost a decade back. Okay, so when we had to build a data discovery engine using Spark and Hadoop. At that point of time, if you see both myself and my team, we had minimal to zero exposure on the entire ecosystem of big data systems and the technologies. But if you see, the business needed it. And I felt like the timing was right. The timing was tight also. Okay. And someone had to take ownership. And I said yes. So in fact, I must say we figured out together as a team, right, to keep the productized version ready for launch as per what our CEO asked. And similarly, there was another time, okay, so where towards driving the vision of the organization, I led the transformation of set of on-premise products to both private and public cloud. And the catch here is with the same team, okay, still supporting our on-premise customers, versions, and enhancements. If you see, it would have been easy for me to actually push back, but instead, I leaned into this challenge. It meant like, yeah, steep learning curve on technology because we were all new to the technology of cloud at that time, and building strategy to drive growth in both the areas and also deal with lot of uncertainties. Okay, but one thing is it also meant like accelerated growth for the team and a better future for the product line. So I feel like proud to represent all such journeys, especially this cloud journey in the gits conference. So for me, feel like, okay, visibility is not just about the spotlight. Okay, it's about stepping out of our comfort zone, basically creating appetite for risk management, and ensuring that once you commit, whatever be the situation, right, you don't drop the ball. Okay, so we should carry things through to the end, and most importantly, make an impact that helps sales and marketing to position the product very strong in the market. And with all this, I must say, like, yes, definitely pressure would be there, but I feel like pressure as a companion. Okay, because see, always in the current market, right? So new technologies, new expectations, new timelines, and dynamic and disruptive trends, right? So in all this, if we have to manage, yes, we have to take pressure as a friend. Okay, so that we adopt very quickly. So what helped me navigate them was staying present, continuing to learn, and keep my own eye on the outcome, okay, but not on the noise around it. Okay, pressure comes and goes, but what matters and what really stays is our steadiness, is what matters. So looking back, if I have to say, the projects I said yes to before I felt I was fully ready were the ones that shaped me the most, and the visibility followed naturally. And visibility was never my goal in my entire career.
That's a great reflection and a strong perspective, Sangeeta, I have to say. And it also makes us understand that leadership in technical environments is not just about expertise, but it's also about navigating those expectations with confidence and clarity, which you clearly depicted as so beautifully in your answer. So, all right, this makes us move forward with the conversation. And I would like to bring this question to you, Megha. After transitioning from leadership roles in India to now operating in the global markets, how has your approach to high stakes decision making evolved, particularly in moments of ambiguity across the diverse teams and cultural contexts?
Great question, Khushi. And I'm going to again take Sangeeta's point, and I'll use that pressure. You have to make pressure your friend. So I think wherever you are, India or US, I think pressure is in every job that you do, right? Pressure is at home, pressure is in any job you do. Anytime you're assigned a task, whether it's, I have to do laundry at home, there's pressure. I have to do it in a certain time. I have to cook at home, there's pressure. You have to do it in a certain time. But one thing definitely working across India and global markets has fundamentally evolved the way I approach decision making, especially, like you mentioned, in high stakes and ambiguous situations. Because what used to happen earlier in my career, when I was primarily operating from India, this is because our markets are global markets and they're not just Indian markets. If I was catering to Indian market, it's different. But a lot of our understanding of international markets came through our sales team and regional leaders based in the US or Europe or APAC. They were essentially my eyes and ears for those markets. Our strategies were often shaped by what we heard through those channels. But when I started spending more time on the ground, particularly now that I'm based in the United States, where nearly 75% of our business comes from, my perspective began to change significantly. There is something very different about sitting directly with clients, understanding their challenges firsthand, and observing the nuances of how decisions are made in different markets. You begin to see how cultural, economic, and organizational dynamics shape varied business priorities. For example, and this might not be true always, but I feel in India, teams often operate with a very strong sense of adaptability and speed. We have to adapt constantly. We have to be very agile. We have to be, looking at our speed of delivery. Whereas in the US or other global markets, there may be greater emphasis on structured decision frameworks, a lot of stakeholder alignment, which is also in India, or a lot of governance processes in organizations, right? Neither is right or wrong. They're just very different, differentiating operating contexts. And when you experience these environments directly of, how geographies work, decision making becomes less theoretical and more contextual. For example, not many people know, but like I mentioned, I've done law before. I had not done marketing. And if I go and study marketing or do an MBA in marketing, that knowledge is theoretical and great, really great. But I was practically learning marketing every day when I started. That was literally my course. Similarly, being in US, I have a lot of practical exposure. And to your question as well, another aspect that has evolved for me is how I think about ambiguity, right? Earlier in my career, ambiguity sometimes felt very uncomfortable. You wanted clarity before moving forward. But in global leadership roles, ambiguity is almost constant. Markets change, priorities shift, and you really have perfect information. We've seen that, all of us have seen that. COVID times, things were so uncertain, things were changing overnight for us. Tech and AI revolution has changed so much. Tech changes things on a year-to-year basis now. AI is changing things on a daily basis. But what I've learned over time is that leadership is never about eliminating ambiguity. It's navigating it very thoughtfully. So today, when I approach a complex decision, I try to balance three perspectives. First is the strategic perspective. What does long-term direction of the organization require, which is the most important perspective for me. And second is the client perspective, which is equally important. What are the real challenges the client is trying to solve? And third important perspective, because I feel you have to think of all scenarios, is the team's perspective. How will this decision impact the people who are executing it? Right? Anything that changes, you have to think from your company's lens, from your client's lens, from your team's lens, who's going to execute it, right? So being closer to clients has also made decision making very, very grounded for me. When you sit in meetings where clients are openly discussing their business pressures, their growth expectations, or their transformation challenges, you realize every strategic discussion or a challenge has a very, very real consequence. And finally, one thing working across geography teaches us is humility. Trust me when I say that no single leader has all the answers. Many times people ask me, I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I'm ambiguous about the situation. Sometimes I don't know what tomorrow will bring, right? How certain decisions we take are going to change in the course of time. Some of the best decisions I have taken have emerged where diverse teams bring different perspectives to the table. So, in many ways, my approach to high stakes decision today is much more collaborative, more contextual because I have real world context rather than listening, observing through other people, and then emulating what they're telling me. I know the real world problems right now, and I'm more comfortable with uncertainty that is than I was much earlier in my career. So that has really evolved over the years now.
And that's a fascinating perspective, Megha. Just the way you mentioned every point and every takeaway that we can take from the journey and from every action that you took throughout. It also highlights that global leadership requires not only strategic thinking, but also the ability to navigate complexity across these cultures and the markets that we get ourselves into. So, now moving
Right.
forward with the conversation, I would like to bring this question to you, Sangeeta. As you see that there are phases in every career where confidence quietly dips. So, what helped you regain the clarity and conviction at a critical turning point in your journey?
Yeah, for this, I'll actually take the clue from Mega's thing. Okay, so we have to deal the problems with clarity, right? Ambiguous situations with some clarity. So confidence or ups and downs, I think, again, they're natural part of every life and career also, right? Whether you continue in your core area of expertise or choose to explore different directions or different streams, whatever, right? So these ups and downs are common. Okay. If I have to say some of my experiences, right? So one of my earliest turning point was way back, I think in 2006 and 7. Okay. So when I was leading a Microsoft mobile project on .NET Compact Framework. Okay, Compact Framework. Now we don't have that. Our app had very tight Outlook dependencies, and it was for a very big customer. Okay, and any upgrade or uninstall actually forced a device restart. The customer just wanted a very simple experience, desktop like experience, where after the restart, the customer wanted the experience to put him back to where the app left off. Okay, so it was a simple ask, but the challenge at that time was the SDK had no hook for that, no APIs, no session handles, nothing was available. For a while, it felt like, okay, it was a dead end for me, okay, and even for the team. And that feeling like the problem was not about our capability, the problem was about the platform constraints, I must say. So when you have to really deal with platform constraints and no solution, the confidence definitely dips. But I didn't walk away. I got curious about this problem. Okay, I dropped down a layer, went into the embedded part of it, used embedded Visual C++, which was completely new for me, and engineered a workaround to approximate actually the state restoration. So finally it worked. Okay, and more importantly, if you see, right, it rebuilt my conviction. That experience really taught me a mindset I still use is when the tool and technology doesn't exist. Okay, so go a layer deeper or build something. Okay, build one more if needed, but solve the problem. So similarly, there was another moment, I must say, maybe sometime around 2010, right? So when I thought I was already a seasoned enough leader, okay, manager, not to get rattled. Okay, so I once prepared an executive update for an account that I revived from very deep red, which means very highly escalated program, into green. I genuinely believed that the deck was sharp. Okay, whatever I prepared, the material was sharp. When I shared it for the feedback to the management, okay, I received to be open, right, what felt like a book of comments. So if you see my first reaction, I was little agitated. What was it? But it was my first time because it was first time I received that level of feedback. Okay, and it definitely disturbed me because it came from the management, right? But I took a pause. Okay, and then I looked for the intent behind it. Okay, and I categorized all the comments, content gaps, structure, narratives, risk framing, everything. But if you see, that experience really rewired how I had to communicate with the senior leaders, how I have to lead with outcomes, how I have to tie outcomes to customers' impact and risk. Because being in engineering, we are deeply involved in solving the problems, okay, but tying it to the impact and the risk is also very important. And what started as a hit to my confidence at that particular moment really ended up being a turning point. It taught me really like how executive demonstrations are to be done, and it definitely requires a different mindset. And feedback, no matter how heavy it is, can actually make you stronger if you don't make it or take it very personal. And I think this happens to everyone. I keep hearing this when staff asking, right, who are in their mid career, ask me like, what to do during appraisal session dips. Okay, this happens many a times. We expect something, but what we see many a times would be something different to what we expect. And when things don't go as planned, right, I always say them like what I believe that has really helped me. So we should not hold back and we should not discount our skills. Okay, so basically what I've learned over and over again is skills earned through real hard work, I think we should never disbelieve, and we should not self doubt way out of opportunities. And I strongly feel that feedback usually needs iterations, but I don't think we'll have to reinvent ourselves. So basically, most importantly, if we see, right, giving ourselves some mental space to process the setbacks helps to deprive clarity, right? Clarity doesn't come when we are overwhelmed with this, right? It comes when we pause. So these things really help me. And fast forward all these experiences, right? When I've moved to the later phase of my career, where I had to really get into diverse domains that were completely new for me. So diverse domains like analytics, AI, cybersecurity, e-discovery, a space felt like, okay, walking into alien ecosystem. And I had to really get into this all in parallel at once. Okay. So even then I was a catalyst to make high impact changes to build products, business and growth. And definitely that reminds me all the time, right? We don't need to know everything on day one. Okay, what we need is resilience, willingness to experiment, and also the ability to walk through the ambiguity, what Megha said, right? So along the way, something, while all these are some experiences, right, along the way there are some more things I must say that help me kept, or I must say kept me grounded. That is nothing but giving back. So contributing at engineering forums, engaging with women in tech communities, partnering with PM groups, leadership circles, all these spaces gave me a lot of energy. So because when we share our learnings openly, it reinforces our confidence in a healthy way. And added to that, uh, so I think somewhere around 2022, okay, I started my journey in physical activities, that is running. Okay, and as part of it, I'm also part of a running community. And if you see this community has people of different age groups, different generations, different professions. And as part of these journeys, okay, so there were days when I failed literally the targets that were given to me. So, but what helped was my discipline and perseverance, okay, not to give up. And if you see the support I got from this community, in terms of learning different perspectives from them, that they constantly encouraged and motivated. So I would say in these situations, right, it is not always the professional aspects, okay, the personal aspects that you build, the engagements that you have, okay, will also help to manage a similar situation or a problem in different ways in a much easier way also. And to conclude, if I have to say, see, ups and downs are common. And I would say, like, our careers aren't shaped by the moments where everything works, right? If everything works, we are not required. So they are shaped by the moments where, where nothing works. So it is our mindset, I would say, where we should choose to show up, learn, experiment, and also show results with impact. Okay, so this is where I would say like real growth happens. So not just that, this is where I would say like where we can find our next better version. So confidence, ups and downs are common, but we need to manage gradually. Okay, we should not go down and give up. Yeah.
Right, Sangeeta, and that's a great forward-looking perspective. The way you took us through every key takeaway and perspective of yours, and it also makes us think that reassure that resilience and clarity they often emerge from experiences like these only. So, thank you so much for sharing that so candidly with all of us.
Great thoughts, Sangeeta.
Thank you.
So now, as we move forward, I would bring the next question to you, Megha. Like, as you see, there's a difference between delivering strong performance and being strategically visible. So, how did you ensure that your performance earned you not only the appreciation, but also the authority, credibility, and the influence among the top leadership?
Um, Khushi, this question particularly really resonates deeply with me because many professionals I've seen, and especially women professionals or women leaders, often focus intensely on delivering very strong performance where get everything right, very strong performance. We have to read everything before we send it out. It has to be pitch perfect before we send it out. But sometimes we hesitate to connect that work to the broader strategic narrative. I did that earlier in my career as well. But later on, I realized, and over the years, that being a marketer has always meant opening at an intersection of brand, growth, and business outcomes. Very, very important. Like Sangeeta mentioned, right? Impact. What's the impact? So, of course, brand visibility matters. Of course, marketing creativity matters. But what really keeps me awake at night is one question: how does the work that we do as a marketing team contribute to the company's larger vision, larger goals, and growth strategy? you have to strategically align yourself to company's growth strategy as well, right? You cannot work in a silo in a team. That lens changes how you approach every decision, whether it's something as small as a social media post or something as large as responding to an RFI or hosting an analyst briefing or an industry event or an industry campaign. I try to ask at every point, what value does this create for the organization? Simple question for every step. Does it strengthen our positioning? Does it build trust with the clients? Does it help us open doors to new opportunities? When leaders see that your thinking consistently aligns with organizations' strategic priorities, I think credibility is a very natural build from there, right? Very, very natural. If you're strategically aligned to the organization's strategic initiatives and how the organization wants to be positioned, I think people see that eventually. And I think another important factor in my journey has been the autonomy my leaders, my bosses have given me. I've been very fortunate to work with leaders who trusted me to make decisions, who trusted me to experiment, who really trusted me to sometimes fail. How we do it with kids, right? We can't watch our kids all the time. We expect them to fall sometimes, and kids get up on their own and start walking again. They learn from those falls, right? And I think same as in life, if we handhold everyone for every step, it's not, they'll be used to hand holding, they'll be used to spoon feeding. So I know sometimes we don't talk about it enough, but failure is something we really don't talk about enough in leadership conversations. But the truth is, some of the most valued lessons, even for me, for anyone, come from decisions that didn't go exactly as planned. I've always believed in owning those moments fully. And I've never blamed anyone else that this didn't work out because of this person's action, this didn't work out because of. I take full responsibility, full ownership, and acknowledge what went wrong, learn quickly, and apply those lessons to the next decision I want to make. Right? Over time, these consistent steps, I think, really builds trust. And when leadership sees that you approach every decision with both strategic thinking and accountability, I think influence is something very organic that grows from there. So for me, again, like Sangeeta mentioned, visibility has never been about self promotion. It has been about ensuring that the work my team and I do is clearly connected to business impact. Because when people see that connection consistently, appreciation obviously evolves into credibility, and credibility again eventually becomes influence. So I think it's goes around in that same circle, right? So it's not something you have to ask for. It's not something like respect, right? You don't have to ask to be respected. It's something that's earned when people see. They see you as that leader. They see you strategically aligned. They see your vision is the same as organization's vision and mission and is attuned to the growth of the organization. It's organically happening.
Right, Megha, and that's a very important distinction, I have to say, because you made it pretty clear that emphasizing the leadership influence is not only about delivering the results, but it is also about ensuring that the impact is recognized at those strategic levels and at the right moments. So that was one great perspective that we got from you. So before we move ahead with the audience Q&A, there's one closing question that I would like to ask to both of you. In your experience, what does building influence on your own terms truly look like, especially without conforming to traditional leadership stereotypes? And what would you like to tell me about how you've been taking all of this amongst all of the other things that we have to keep in consideration at the same point?
Sangeeta, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just waiting. Yeah, sure. So, interesting question. So, for me, building influence on my terms, it actually starts with trusting my own vision, right? So leadership definitely brings a lot of noise, okay, expectations about how we should operate or what traditional leader is supposed to do. Okay, but when the direction is clear and my logic and my plan is strong, I move on. Even in situations when there is a difference of opinion, I prepare a path to convince, get a buy-in. So as Megha said, right? So when the path really is towards strengthening our position in the market and it is aligned to the organization vision, I think even if there are differences, I think we can move forward, explain, and get the buy-in, which is very important. So, a big part of how I lead is through an innovative and entrepreneurial mindset, I would say. Reading trends constantly, understanding shifts in the customer behavior, anticipating capability gaps, okay, and preparing the organization and the group before others even see the changes coming. Okay, so I feel like when we are able to articulate what Megha said, when we are able to articulate not just the what part, okay, but also why is it important now and how we can do it, followed by what next. Okay, so if we are able to articulate this in with clarity, I think uh, we can actually naturally bring people along. So there have been several moments, I must say, when I stepped into the leadership role, where some of my actions really raised eyebrows. Okay, so something as simple as very recently also, right, me showing up on weekends, okay, as early as 4 p.m. to prepare and drive a community initiative. Okay, so but I stayed with the course because I understood that the long term value, okay, and the strategic intent would be beneficial for all. Okay, so in my view, influence is not about the personal power; it's about enabling the direction. So for me, building influence on my terms, okay, has meant three things. First is trusting my vision. Second is leading with clarity and consistency. And the third is always thinking a step ahead. When we do that, influence, I must say, like, we don't have to chase it. It's something that grows around you, okay, when you have these three aspects.
So true, so true. I'll kind of just thread into that also. And one of the theories works well for me, like Sangeeta mentioned. For me, building influence begins with something very, very simple, but I feel is very, very powerful. It's as simple as that trust. And that trust has to exist in two directions. It has to exist with leadership, but it has to exist with your team as well. I've always believed that, very little value in building influence upward if your own team doesn't feel aligned with your decisions or doesn't feel confident in your leadership. So, the first place influence must exist is, I feel, within the team you lead. One principle I hold very strongly is surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me in different areas. I always tell my team, and I tell them whenever they're going to hire someone, I always tell them, hire someone smarter than you, because they'll have answers to the questions you don't have answers for. So, leadership is not about having all the answers, it's about creating an environment where the best ideas can surface from anywhere. Anywhere. When your team feels respected, when they feel empowered, and when they feel trusted, they bring their absolute best thinking forward. And I've seen that. It's not only when you challenge them, it's also when you trust them and when you empower them. They will bring their best foot, their best thinking forward. Another philosophy I believe in is, I believe very deeply in this, is enabling teams to operate very effectively, both in your presence and in your absence. My erstwhile boss used to always tell me, if your team can work very well in your presence but fail in your absence, you've not built a great team. They should be working fabulously in your absence as well. So if a team can only function when the leader is in the room, that's not sustainable leadership. But when people feel confident enough to take that ownership, make decisions, and move forward independently, that's when I feel true leadership or maturity begins to develop within the organization. So I feel influence also means creating space for others to grow. Sometimes what leaders do, and it's very unintentional, right? They limit their teams because they want to maintain control. And many women I've seen, like I was great control freak. I'm like an OCD at home also. I feel any job that I do will be done better than have my husband chime in, because then if he cooks, I'll have to clean up the mess. If he does something, I'll have to clean up after him. I rather cook myself than do double work. I know that if I do something, I have control, but I have to give him the ability to do things, to share my load, right? Otherwise, I'll be doing everything myself. So leaders do this very unintentionally and limit their teams because they want to maintain that control, or because they believe that they need to be involved in every decision. But the most effective leaders I've seen, including my leaders as well, are the ones I try to learn from, and are the ones who enable others to step forward, like my leaders have enabled me. So finally, I would just say building influence on your own terms for me means not feeling the need to conform to a single leadership stereotype. Leadership can look very different for different people. Some leaders are very vocal. Other leaders lead very quietly, but with incredible clarity and consistency, like Sangeeta mentioned, right? What matters most in any of the situations is how authentic you are. You need to be an authentic leader. When your values, your decisions, and your actions remain same, consistent over time, influence will naturally follow. And in my experience, the most sustainable influence isn't the one that comes from authority. I always feel that it's the one that comes from trust, from empowerment, and from a shared purpose to do these things. So, yeah.
So strong from trust, empowerment, and shared purpose.
Yeah.
Truly, truly.
Yeah.
Megha and Sangeeta, these were some amazing reflections, some strong perspectives, and some wonderful, notes to end on, I would say, because definitely this insights have beautifully reinforced that authentic leadership is not about fitting into a mold, but it's about shaping your own path while staying true to your values. So, with this, we come to the end of this enlightening conversation. Thank you so much, Sangeeta and Megha, for those incredibly honest and powerful reflections. And now that we've received a lot of questions from the audience, we'd like to take them up. So, I'll just try to cover almost all of them, as we've received a lot of questions. And firstly, we have received a lot of wishes for International Women's Day and a lot of appreciation for our uh, guest speakers, like wonderful session and great insights shared today. So the first question that I can see is, yeah. So we have, when you reflect on your leadership journey today, what is that one belief about career success that you once held strongly but have completely changed your perspective on? So who would like to go for this?
I can answer that, and I kind of answered that in my previous question also, that I have to do everything. I have to control everything. I have to take control of everything. Initially, I thought, because I know how this is to be done in a certain way, I know for a fact if I do it, I'll do it better than anyone, whether it's my team, whether it's my peer. But I have realized over time, and this is clearly something in terms of mentorship or enabling others, that the greatest leaders I've worked with didn't just guide me, they believed in me until I believed in myself. So you have to do that for your teams, and this is a norm I've changed over a period of time, that sometimes it's not about having the smartest answer in the room. I still might have the smartest answer, but about creating a room where the smartest ideas can emerge. So something that I've changed over a period of time is enabling others and making sure that everyone feels trusted, you have to trust people to do the job, and you don't have to do everything yourself to get it done or to have it done perfectly. You have to trust other people. The minute you start trusting other people, enabling other people, you'll be surprised. So I have really changed that over the last, and that change has come in the last 5 6 years, and it's not something I always did. It's come in the last 5 6 years. The more I enabled, more I trusted, I've seen, amazing things happen.
So I echo Mega over there. Okay, so this experience I had in the last, I think in a decade back with my manager. So when I had to really get into analytics and AI space, which was completely new, and gradually to e-discovery also, again completely new, all in parallel. I never thought, okay, I had that appetite to actually do it, because prior to that, I was in diverse technologies. So I managed in diverse technologies and diverse domains, but one at a time. But this time, it was all at a time. Okay, but the empowerment my leader has given me, it really made me look into my perspectives, okay, my style, okay, and that's what I believe now in giving it to my teams, okay, where uh, creating a space for them to experiment, okay, and to share their ideas. So how big or small, even if the experiment fails, also it is okay, but making an attempt, okay, giving that environment for them, okay, so giving a trust on them, on their ability, okay, so it makes a lot of difference, and that matters a lot. I truly echo what Mega said.
Right, Sangeeta, and definitely both of you put this perspective in such ease for us to understand and follow that with all of our conviction and ideas that come forward too. So moving forward, there are some wishes also. We have from Kirti. She's wishing Happy Women's Day to all the incredible women. It's inspiring to see such amazing women leaders sharing their journeys and insights. And thank you to the team for organizing such meaningful session. And just let me know wherever you feel that there is repetition of the answer, because we have to take the questions quickly. And post the wishes, we have our next question, that is, as leaders progress in their careers, expectations and visibility increase significantly. How do you personally manage the pressure that comes with leadership while staying authentic to your values? I do think we've covered this in Sangeeta's.
Yeah.
Right. So we can move ahead with the next question. That is, if someone is at a turning point in their career and unsure whether to stay, pivot, or take a break, what framework or mindset would you recommend to help them make that decision?
So we
I
should do,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Either
Sangeeta.
of you can.
Okay, for me, I think we should do what we feel is right. Okay, so uh, as I said, right, we may not be perfect all the time. So Mega also said, right, most of the time, most of the times, as women, we were trained that way since our childhood to be perfect in all aspects. We should not get feedback. We should not hear feedback. We should be right in the first step. Okay, but yeah, that mindset usually keeps us in a fix, like whether to take it because I'm not ready, right? So irrespective of whether we are ready or not, I think we, along with that, we have also built the capability to be successful, to manage very critical situations very strongly, okay, with clarity. Our mindset is built like that, right? So I think whatever we feel is right, we should move forward. So
Absolutely.
right.
I echo Sangeeta's comment as well on this, and very honestly, like Sangeeta also mentioned, right? It's the uncomfortable moments in your career that make you grow, right? And it is basically those uncomfortable moments that are preparing you for the next level. So always and always, you have to keep evolving. The world is evolving, technology is evolving. You have to keep on evolving to stay relevant. So if you feel you need to take a career break to evolve for the next chapter, take that break, learn, do a course, do something that is going to add that fuel, or maybe that sometimes that break stops you from that burnout also, right? So it's absolutely okay to sit, pause, reflect on what you want to do next and empower yourself with the choice you make. And most importantly, believe in yourself, believe in the choice that you're going to make. You'll ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers. You'll ask a career counselor, you'll ask your family, you'll ask your husband, you'll ask your best friend, you'll ask your mentor. 10 different answers, or sometimes 3, 4 conflicting opinions. You will always know what's best for you and go with your convictions. So take the bait.
Yeah, and also added to that, we also usually tend to plan 10 steps ahead, okay, because we don't want to fail. So many a times those 10 steps ahead, that planning really pulls us back in moving forward because we see a lot of big problems ahead, okay, whether we will be able to navigate them or not. So what I would suggest is when we hit that situation, definitely we'll have a solution to actually navigate it. So let's not think too much well ahead, okay, but think at the current moment, and we should take what we feel is right at that moment.
Right, Sangeeta, and that's definitely some powerful perspectives that we've got from both of you on this particular question. Again, we have some wishes by Sapna and Anuradha. They're wishing Happy Women's Day to all the inspiring women leaders and professionals. Wonderful session and great insights shared today. Thank you to the TechGig team for organizing it. Then moving forward, we have a question by Pramod. He's asking that in situations where you didn't have formal authority, how did you build influence and gain the trust of stakeholders?
I have answered that to a
Yeah,
great
yes,
extent.
Pavel.
Yes.
And how if you're aligned to organization goals and if you're strategically thinking, I think that influence and authority is something that builds over a period of time, where people see what you're doing and how strategically aligned you are to organization's goals. And I've done that. I think I responded to that
Yes.
in detail.
Yes, we've covered that inside. So we'll move forward with the next question by Dipali. She's asking that how important was mentorship or sponsorship in your leadership journey, and how can professionals actively seek the right mentors? So,
For me, it was my first boss, and in all the roles I've done, for my first boss's belief in me, he was my mentor. And when I didn't think that I could do it, he felt consistently that I can do it, and he said, "You will see it one day, what I see in you." So it was. Whether you call it his sponsorship, his belief in me, it was very important. And my, current boss as well. He's always had that faith and confidence in me. I'm very, very privileged to have worked with such amazing leaders who've had that faith and confidence in me. Sometimes I feel I've done a good job at something, and even if it's in the form of feedback, that constant feedback loop, or knowing that I might in my head feel I've done a great job, but he thinks I can do better or she thinks I can do better, that means they expect more from me. And that challenge also has given me great authority, and has made me always prove myself again and again. So I really feel, I don't know if you need mentors or not, but you definitely, I've personally, if you ask me, have I had a mentor? That I've had leaders I really look up to. I've had bosses that I really look up to. I've not had a mentor in my journey, but I listen to a lot of CMO podcasts. Like that's something I keep on listening to, how people have shaped their journeys, how people have led, Fortune 500 organizations, how they've led Indra Nui and all these guys. Take a lot of inspiration I draw from these leaders. Personally, I've not had a single mentor, but I've had great leaders, had the privilege of working with great leaders, men and women alike. And if you have anyone in your career whom you look up to, hold on to them, emulate what they do. So I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, I go again. So even I do not have formal mentors or sponsors, okay, in my career, but I always drew lessons, okay, from every interaction I have with my bosses, with my leaders, and also from my family. Okay, so I've learned from my mom. She is a working mother. Okay, how to manage and balance work life. Okay, I learned from my dad. Okay, so how to empower in unknown situations. So I learned driving a bike, okay, when I was in school. It was all because of my silent empowerment from my father. And similarly, my husband also, right? He always challenges me. So when Megha said she was a law graduate, I really wanted to say I did my law very recently. Okay, being in technology, so I did my law. Okay, and then I did my independent director certification. All similarly, like in my previous response, I said like from my I had very good managers who groomed me. I mean to say indirectly, okay, with some feedback or where I learned uh, how important it is to be patient, even in stressful situations. Okay, navigate those stressful situations without passing on that stress to the team. Okay, so which requires a lot of background planning, which we women are very good at. And then I also learned how empowerment, okay, so gives a space. So my journey itself has been a great example for myself. Okay, so where I learned it from my boss, why how empowerment or miracles empowerment can actually give. So we may not have our dedicated mentors or sponsors. If we get, fine, but otherwise also what I would say is have an open eye on every conversation. So there will definitely be a learning from every conversation.
And I'll
Right.
just add one line, which I always feel. Um, Being successful or leadership is not about becoming someone else to succeed or
Right.
following someone's footsteps. It's about becoming more of who you already are with a lot of courage and conviction. So just do more of you, do you, empower yourself.
That's great takeaway, Megha and Sangeeta, I have to say. So for the remaining questions, I'll just read out them for you quickly, and you can just let me know which one we can take. So the next question is by Muskan. She's asking that what personal qualities or habits help you stay resilient during the most challenging phases of your career?
We
I
covered
think
it.
We've
that's a good
covered
one
it.
because we've not had a question on, personal qualities or
Personal.
traits or, balancing personal and professional life. So maybe I can take a stab at this.
Yeah.
Personal thing for me that have like the way I am personally, I'm very much the same professionally as well. I take control of things. I take initiative at home with my friends, at work. I'm always the first one to say, okay, challenge me. I'm up for the challenge. So I think for my family, friends, for work, I'm always the first one, most of the time in the room that, I'll take it on. Planning a family trip, I'll take it on. Planning a girls night out, I'll take it up. Planning something new at work, I'm up for the challenge. So I always want to test myself and my limits as well. So I think that's one personal trait I carry, and I'm always, like all women, like mentioned, right, up for 100% perfection at all times. I'm quite the perfectionist, quite the control freak. Whether it's good or bad, in some situations it cannot be good as well. So obviously, everything we do is not 100% good. But one thing I'll absolutely mention, things that have helped me during challenging times is my personal life as well. So I've never put my personal life in back burner because of my professional life. I think the balance is so important. If at I have something very pressurizing at work, but I take immense joy in looking at my 5-year-old son. When he talks to me, just being present when he's talking to me, when my husband's talking to me, being present is important. It's equally important in a business discussion, it's equally important at home as well. So many times in pressure situations, I had done that in the past, and my husband used to tell me, he's talking to you, my son is talking to you, and I'm maybe thinking about work, and answer him, he's talking to you. So over the last 2-3 years, I've tried to be much more present, and these personal things take your stress out of work and don't let you get completely consumed. So I think another thing that helps me is being present in work and at home. So you have to be equally present in both the situations. That's kind of helped me.
Right.
Yeah, added to that, being present, and also one more thing maybe we can also look at is uh, dedicating some time for self. Even it can be even 5 minutes. That's enough. Okay. But dedicating some time for yourself to reflect on what you want to do. Okay. Not just on did I do it correctly, or so we keep thinking, but what keeps you happy? This is one aspect I see. Like many women, they ignore about themselves. They focus more on the work, they focus more for the family, but less about self, right? So dedicating some time for self will create lot of impact, will balance lot of things.
Right, Sangeeta, and definitely great takeaways, Megha and Sangeeta. It was also lovely to hear this aspect from both of you. So, next question I think we have covered up right now, that how did you manage external expectations from the workplace and personal life while pursuing leadership roles? So, I think we can move forward with the next question, which is by Anjali. She's asking that what communication skills do you think are the most important for leaders today, especially when managing diverse teams? This one we can take up quickly. Either of you can go ahead.
So it is clarity which is very important when managing diverse teams, diverse products. So the clarity in what we are doing. Okay, it is not just managing teams. We should have a hold on what we are managing, also the products we are managing. Experiment with the products. Okay, and also the stakeholders, their expectations. So the clarity is very important when managing diverse portfolios.
Right,
Yeah,
Sangeeta.
clarity, and I would just add maybe expectation or the end goal of any situation. I think everyone has to be brought on the same page that this is what we're trying to achieve, whether it's a project, whether it's a campaign, whatever it is, there has to be one unified goal for anything that we're doing, and everyone, it has to be a shared purpose, shared goal for everyone. I think that outcome that you're expecting from that whatever problem you're trying to solve or whatever you're communicating about, I think there has to be a shared vision, shared purpose, and everyone's alignment has to be there. Ways of doing things can be different, but alignment on what we're trying to achieve has to be there.
Right, Megha. And definitely, this makes us also understand that alignment along with the balance of each and every aspect is very important. So, the next question that we have is by Vanshika. She's asking that in times of major organizational change, how do leaders maintain trust and motivation within their teams? So, maybe we can take this up quickly.
I usually do. I have like frameworks around it. I, have defined frameworks that I create. But change is the only constant that we have, right? Till the time we know and we prepare our teams to embrace change as a new challenge, I think, the teams obviously have questions at every point. You have to be there to answer those questions. So first and foremost, be as transparent as you can, with your teams about the changes that are going to, if they're going to affect them, and then bring them on the page, try and explain to them why this change is important and how this change is going to align to what we're trying to achieve as an organization. Make them a part of the decision making process and how they can work with you towards this change and be a part of that change. They feel empowered if you take them along and not single-handedly just announce the decision to them. So work on the change with them. So I think just empowering them, transparency, explaining to them why it's needed, making them a part of the process. Very, very important because changes are bound to happen.
So I completely echo empowering them and making them be part of the change is very important, and change is constant that we need to manage. And one thing I remember like from my leaders, okay, so change can happen at any level, right? So there would be some changes which may not directly impact us. So we should worry about changes where we have control on. Okay, and for things where we do not have control, okay, so we should think about what we need to be prepared for. Okay, so this is also very important because changes are every other day we'll see some change.
Right, Sangeeta and Megha, definitely. And Of course, with all these perspectives, viewpoints, and takeaways, we're truly glad that we got to know all of these perspectives from both of you. And now, as we're running short of time, I'll just take the last wish from Tanushri. She is wishing Happy International Women's Day to all incredible ladies out there. And thank you to the TechGig team for bringing such powerful viewpoints from authentic and inspiring women leaders who definitely are change makers to the audience. So, more powers to all of us. So I think that is a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, Tanushree, for that. And thank you so much, Sangeeta and Megha, for those meaningful insights and perspectives. There were a lot of questions, but we've tried to cover most of them. And definitely, with those perspectives, today's conversation has reminded us that behind every title lies resilience, reinvention, and moments of quite courage that shape who we become as leaders. So, through your journeys, we've understood that success is not just built on milestones, but on how we navigate uncertainty, rebuild confidence, and stay authentic in environments that constantly evolve. So, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to you, Megha and Sangeeta, for sharing your stories with such openness and depth. Your perspectives have really added immense meaning to this crosstalk session and to She Builds the Future 2026. Wishing you both a very happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, and we should tell a special thanks to Megha for extending her time.
Yeah,
She's not in our time zone.
right.
Uh,
Thankfully, today is the night when daylight saving is going to start, and
Yeah.
tonight I lose 1 hour of sleeping because not because of the session, because the clocks kind of switch
Daylight.
back in US. But having said that, this was such an exciting conversation. Thank you, Kushi. Thanks, TechGig, for organizing it. I'm very excited. I met Sangeeta in the process as well. Was great knowing you, Sangeeta, and to all the women, and like I mentioned in the beginning, everyone who's attending and have powerful, strong, and resilient women, please wish them on our behalf. And for all the questions we could not answer, please get in touch on LinkedIn. Open to any questions at any given point in time. Happy to answer any of the questions if you want to take a cue. Obviously, everyone's journey is different. We are no examples that we're trying to set here, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to answer them.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So happy Women's Day to all. Okay. So, yeah, any questions? Yes, you can reach out to our LinkedIn.
Yes. So I think all of our
And
attendees have
thank you,
noted that
TechGig.
down. They will
Thank you,
be,
TechGig. So I've been part of TechGig sessions, different diverse sessions. Okay. So
yeah.
it's been great, and thank you for organizing this.
It's always an
I
absolute pleasure having you, Sangeeta. And of course, Megha, now that we've had this amazing session carried out with you, it will be amazing to, look forward to you for our upcoming sessions as well. So
Absolutely.
to our wonderful audience as well, thank you for your insightful engagement and energy. As we conclude the first session of day two of She Builds the Future, we hope today's session leaves you encouraged to define success on your own terms and build influence with confidence and authenticity. The session has been recorded, and the recording will soon be available on techgig.com for those all who would like to revisit the insights that are shared today. Also, we are looking forward to see you again in our closing panel at 4 p.m. today. Thank you once again for being a part of this important conversation. It's been a pleasure hosting all of you.